Thank you very much for inviting me this today because uh, since the COVID, I haven't been so many gatherings. But I'm Hassan Mahmoud, as you tell, and I came from Somalia for 1981 to Sweden. What I have in my mind now is the war in Ukraine, actually. I'm very emotional because I went through myself the same thing. What you have seen in Ukraine, I have experienced it in my country for many years ago, and still the war is going on. And my today sharing with you will be around this kind of things, but partly also how to build a leadership, a peace. Peace is actually for leadership for individuals, for me. But I'm also remember I was born in 1954, which I think your movement has been started in Korea. That's the year I born. So I'm very glad that it's the same year. Huh? So, and I like, I read it for him for some years ago. Someone gave me a book. And one thing I'm very glad that you have as a value is to have a united humanity, to have a united beliefs. Maybe we cannot have, but it is a wish if we can have a united heart at the same time. Yes. So today I just wanted to tell you what I'm doing mostly. As you mentioned, this is some of the things I was doing last 30 years. But I will start it where I started this journey. Um, actually, I left Somalia when I was 19, and that's the time I finished the school. And why I left, I don't want to go in, but I have left without parents since I was 7 years old. So you can see my resilience. You can feel it. So it is just a miracle I'm here today as a 67 years old person, because in my country, the life expectation is not more than 49 or 50, which is Somalia. So I'm very lucky to live such a long life. Secondly, when I came to Sweden, actually, I was expecting that I will get a job immediately, but it doesn't work like that. So when I realized I cannot get a job my profession, which I studied in Saudi Arabia, because I have been in Saudi Arabia. Many people talk about Saudi Arabia and terrorism and all this, but that time I didn't know that, and I think the world doesn't know that. But when I came to Saudi Arabia, I studied there 4 years, exactly 3 years and 9 months. So that contrast you can see when I come here from Saudi closed society to very open Swedish society, it has been very big. But what inspired me is the peaceful society which I came. And still it's a peaceful society, actually, although things are changing. So today, to go what I prepared for you, this is a little bit of my travel here. To tell you, 1992, one friend of mine, which I didn't know so well, came and asked me, can you forgive your enemy? And at that time, I didn't know any enemy. But if I ask you, each of you today, can you forgive your enemy? What do you think?
I'll give it a go.
Huh?
I'll give it a try.
Yeah. So, but, and after a week and so, it shows that he met Initiative of Change. And Initiative of Change, they have a phrase when they're doing peace, can you forgive your enemy? And then it took for me to understand just what does that mean. 6 months in that process. 6 months. But I will go in later. But now I started my confusion.
What is needed in order for this world to be just,
Watch this.
peaceful, and sustainable? When one person changes, they change their community and surroundings. A community of change can change a society.
From what I have seen, you young people are going to change the world, and you have to be the change that you want to see.
For individuals to change, we need a space for peace and personal reflection.
I'm always in search of a place for peace.
What we have is different people with different views, different philosophies, different ideas. They also need that safe operating space, that safe space for ideas generation.
CO provides that place of peace for personal transformation and ideas generation. Overlooking Lake Geneva in Switzerland, CO began its life as a hotel for the rich and famous. After the Second World War, 99 Swiss families sold their possessions to buy the former CO Palace, creating a unique space for Europe to reconcile after World War II.
When I look at the history of this place, and that 60 years ago, you had Konrad Adenauer sitting there, and leaders of the French resistance sitting there. Everything is possible if we have the minds and hearts at work simultaneously to bring that about. And we should be inspired by this place for that reason.
Attended by tens of thousands of people over the last 7 decades for conferences, the CO Palace is owned by the CO Initiatives of Change, a Swiss charitable foundation supported by donations. The CO Foundation is dedicated to the principles of building a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. The CO Foundation has been creatively engaged in positive change and transformation for over 70 years. Global leaders in politics, government, business, finance, and civil society have attended CO conferences, reflecting their personal and professional commitments to the aims and goals of the CO Foundation.
For all our technology, for all our sophistication, I believe that it's the values and character of the leadership that counts.
Each summer, for 2 months, over 1,500 people come from all over the world to explore the link between personal and global change.
What I love about CO is that people came knowing that the expectation was not that this was going to be head knowledge, academia. This was going to be looking inside deeply and dealing with your own conflicts and listening to the deep, painful stories of other people and other cultures. And in that process, becoming a bigger person, becoming a better person, and ultimately then, I believe, a better peace builder, a better facilitator, someone who can put into practice what they've learned.
Here in CO, I met for the first time. I was in the same room with an Israeli woman. It was very emotional. I didn't want to leave this program just because I was like confronted with my issues. No, I have to deal with my issues. I have to deal with this anger. And probably every single one of us in Lebanon and even in Israel should deal with their fears, their anger, their emotions, and then we could probably confront each other. Not confront, like be together and work together.
Where do I need to mend a relationship that's not going on well? Where do I need to apologize because of things that I did that are not pleasant? Where do I need to forgive and forgive unconditionally?
Co offers a unique combination of space for personal reflection, service in community, discussion of global issues in a diverse setting, skill development for sustainable solutions, and intercultural networking.
I'm taking from here a mustard seed that I hope to water and to nurture. I've recorded certain conferences and plenary sessions, so from there I'll take it back to my workplace. From my workplace I'll share it with my colleagues. My colleagues will bring it into their meetings. From there it will be connections with others. I will maintain a communication base which was initially incepted here in this conference. From there, further projects. Projects then will lead on to movements. It will lead on to creating a better environment, a better developmental social concept.
I am inspired for being here because I think that the core initiatives of change really integrate the ethics and values that come from our faiths or from our beliefs into the sort of hands-on practical work of building these partnerships. So I am here to share and to learn. So I'm very excited, and I think it's such a beautiful place to be.
The events and people's experiences at CO have an impact that multiplies far beyond the individual experience. The activities of the CO Foundation are more relevant and needed today than ever before. Its impact on individuals, communities, and society is both direct and tangible.
Thank you. This is the IFC which I met 92. And with this, I just want to show you the organization which I'm working for, and have been working as a voluntary, of course, last 30 years, almost 30 years. And that's what inspired me when I went to become a peacemaker. In my professional work as a teacher, that I was also working half of my time for that. And then I went to Africa, I went to Asia and elsewhere. I was in UK for some years for community building. We had some kind of training for mostly Somali communities, African, East African communities, for IFCs. This is the region where the war is very much focused in Africa. So that's why I was doing that. So in IFC, when I met 4 things, 4 principles, which is for the organization. Otherwise, we do the same things, even your organization and others. But those 4 things was, first was the honesty. So for me, that time, honesty was not very much in my head, and even less in my heart. Secondly, I met unselfishness. And unselfishness is also something I never reflected before that. The other word which I was very afraid of was purity at that time. And still, it's kind of, very frightening. because I don't know how to be pure. I didn't know that. Still, I'm challenging. But what I understood is it's my motivation. What did I mean, purity? What's my motivation? What's my motives for doing different things? To get a clarity about it. And then the fourth thing was a love. And for me, at that time, I didn't experience any love. So that was even less for my heart. So, and I started that journey. So I go through my slices as I'm speaking, hopefully. So I started something which, some situation I was at that time. So I don't know if you can see these ones. Yeah, this was where I was that time, confusion. All these beliefs, you see, all these beliefs, all these kind of rituals, all these kind of things, maybe you are mostly Christian, so you had some kind of practices, but I was very confused. So which one did I believe? Which one is the... That was what I was. Maybe many young people recognize that. And then this is the man who came and told me, can you forgive your enemy? In 1992. So I have some questions which about, can you forgive your enemy? When I encountered this. But those questions, I think we came back later. So we go through because we are using the time. And then I came from this country, Somalia, reaching the yellow regions, a city, a region called Mudug in the middle, in the yellow regions. And then, just to show you where I came from, and then what I had in my mind is those pictures. Or he had in his mind, my friend also, when he asked me that question. Because Somalia at that time was in war. And then this is then something else which come, chaos. I'm not talking about only 92, I'm talking even today. And this is a poverty. This is also another thing which we see every day, and I experience it. So that's what I wrote here. Only the very foolish and the utterly selfish will be happy with the world as it is today. Ukraine is one example. Our hearts are bleeding as we see the suffering of our soil siblings, and that I mean in Ukrainians, of course, as we speak today. As someone mentioned in the video, I think we have this possibility, technology, knowledge, sources, to end that suffering. Yet, we do let people suffer because there are gaps between our walk and talk, our convictions and commitments, our commitment, our desire, our determination, our aspirations, our actions. They keep us unhappy, the world unchanged. inner governance is maybe some of the solutions. Change ourselves, become change leaders, all of us, which I think you are, all of you. So this is the words I'm talking about. This is the two simple tools of IFC can help the process of change, of course. And this is a purity, absolutely standards they write here, but I don't think it works today, but that's what we say always. So tool one is purity, honesty, and unselfishness, and love, unconditional love, of course. Number two is just listening our inner voices. And these inner voices, as we every morning practice, it will come. But at the beginning, you never notice anything. So here is what since 92, I was doing, some of the things I was doing. I think you mentioned earlier, so I go over. But the slides are here if someone are interested. Each of us has unlimited hidden potential, but are we ready to get rid of the fear of looking within us and inside us? And that I mean, because most of the things are here in our hearts and our minds, but we can see other people's wrong doing. We can see the things, we can observe it. But are we ready to look in us? And in us, I mean, why do I have some thoughts? Why do I thinking certain ways? Why I don't like certain situations? What's bothering me? So as soon as you feel that you don't like these things, then you look inside. There is something wrong whenever I know I don't like this. So that maybe you recognize as well. And here is this. The inner self is the fire. That's what I'm talking about. Covered by ash and smoke. The inner governance, when I take leadership of my own feelings and my own hearts, then that blows away the smoke and empowers the self. The senses are great, as someone else phrases, and not mine. The greater is the mind, and even greater is the wisdom and intellect. The greatest is the self. So when we deal with the self, our issues, as lady said there, then things will go smoothly. And this is the things which we are challenging mostly, whether we notice or not. Attachment is my problem for myself, and all these things. You agree or not? Yes. Spirituality without morality is very poor sentimentality, or subi. I use that. And that's my problem too. Morality without spirituality is very hard and heartless. Together they bring peace and fulfillment with the individual. Progress and justice to society comes thereafter. Inner development is a spiritual journey. I think you are a good example for Familia Federationen. It starts with moral corrections. It is not easy to free ourselves from the grip of darkness. So in IFC, we take a time every morning, those who have time, of course. And time is always there, but we need to manage it. If you don't take time, you don't have time. So take unhurried time every day to listen. Start with 10 minutes. Some maybe start to 5, some more. Increase it slowly, 20 minutes. Except when you are very busy, which that's an excuse I recognize. Take 1 hour if you can. Write down the thoughts. This is the thing. I think in many countries like Sweden, you write always things. In Africa, we don't. Mostly we don't. I cannot say everybody, but mostly. Because we never practice, we never learn it to do so. Strongest memory is weaker than the weakest ink. That you also recognize. When I listen, the inner self gives us a clarity where there is a confusion. Courage, confidence, and strength shows the way to help others to change and to make difference in society. To help others to change doesn't mean that I tell people to change. No, I have to behave or act or practice the way I want others follow. On my doings, people does things. And also reveals a purpose and meaning for life. Here I take 4 sheets to a paper. That practice I actually learned in India. So first time when they give me these things, and they told me write each sheet one of those 4 principles, which is purity, honesty, unselfishness, and love. Those standards. And number 1 is purity, honesty, unselfishness, and love. So each of these sheets, you write things you remember, or maybe you know. Because purity, what have I done which was not pure, which was not honest? So they told me write 10 things in the list. So every sheet, yeah. Today you are not doing, but remember. Yeah. So write all. I wrote all I could, but you can also write all you can. Wait a minute, I have to go back here. So in the governance, change ourselves, become change leaders. Yeah, when we change ourselves, then our leaders will also change. That's maybe not work like that, but that's a hope. Where should I start, and what am I mean to do? This is the homework. At work, like the lady said, you take your workplace, you take home. Maybe my wife is not happy what I'm doing. So when I know and get inspiration, I go home and practice this. I go my work. If I steal a pen from the office or wherever, or I take a book from the school books, in society, my community, my country, or maybe any other thoughts you may have, you may get at that time. And this is me today. Thank you for listening, my friends. Yeah? But at the beginning, I had some questions. Oh, wait a minute. I have to go back. I have some questions at the beginning which I like you to answer. Yeah, here. I don't know if you can read this. Can you forgive your enemy? That's what Ahmed asked me. But I also asked him, do you aware of having enemy? And he said to me, yes, because I come to you. You are my enemy. And how did I become his enemy? Can you imagine? Yeah, because there was a war in Somalia. And that war in Somalia was a clan war. Somalia, we have only one tribe. And this is a clan war. So what have I to do with this clan war? I left Somalia, I was 19. I never been in war. I never killed anyone. I never paid money. And he said, okay, you don't have any consciousness. You are conscious when my clan has been killed. Maybe you say, okay, right, because they are my enemy. Maybe you are thinking. Maybe you support contribution. Maybe you feel something. Maybe you talked. So I was thinking when the war started in Ukraine, we are all supporting Ukrainians mostly. But are we also be part of the war in that sense? Huh? Can that happen? We don't know. But maybe as much as we hate Putin and his action, maybe we have to think the Russian people as we think, at least. I believe we cannot forgive Putin today, but when the war finishes, I don't know. But anyway, that's where I feel. Do you have any enemy, or are you aware of it? The other thing is, how does my enemy look like? Is it black, white, fat man like me, old man like me? What is it? How does the enemy look like? Because I believe myself that the world is one, and we are all the citizens of this world. That's what I believe. And these borders, these kind of things, this is created by humans. And the war came after that. So how long can I have enemy or enmity? How long can I carry? This trauma, how long can I carry it? 1 year, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, how long? So that's also another question we can ask ourselves, maybe. And the last, how can I get rid of? So that is also individual, I think. So every individual has is its own process. Thank you very much. If you have questions, see you later.